Today we're going over the top 10 guns for Season 5 in COD Mobile, and we're breaking down why these guns dominate and how mastering them can change your game. Stick around, especially for the top spots. There are some insights you don't want to miss that tie everything together. Starting off with a few honorable mentions, these didn't quite make the top 10, but understanding their unique strengths is crucial, especially when we get to some of the higher ranked weapons. First of all, the best sniper in the game, the LWC Tundra. The Tundra outperforms basically every bolt action sniper. It has a decent ADS time of 375 milliseconds, which is fast enough to not be an issue. But what sets it apart from other bolt action snipers are mainly two things. First, we only have 924 milliseconds of fire interval, so missing a shot isn't as bad as with a DLQ or a Locus. Second, the flinch is really low. We only have 1.76 of flinch, which with toughness is reduced all the way down to 0.7, basically the flinch of a Kilo 141. It's a top tier sniper and basically the best. The second honorable mention is the best shotgun in the game right now, the HSO 405. While we could say the R90 is better, in general, the HSO is just more rewarding. We have a really fast 6.76 meters per second of sprint speed and 5.2 meters per second of movement speed, so movements will be pretty smooth and quick. Damage is quite awesome as under 13.5 meters. The one-shot kill is reliable thanks to the raw damage pellet and the quite compact spread. The issue with the HSO 405 is the fire rate, as the fire interval is 28% longer than your usual KRM, but that shouldn't be an issue if you learn the timing and play with it a little. The shotgun shows how important movement speed is, a factor that becomes even more critical for some of the SMGs will rank. Last honorable mention, I want to mention the Type 63. I mentioned it a bit quickly in the underrated guns video, but I'll explain a little more here. The Type 63 is a DMR with infinite one-shot headshot potential, a two-shot kill potential if you hit your enemy above the waist once under 49 meters, and a two-shot kill potential if you only hit above the waist beyond 49 meters. A two-shot kill can be as fast as 170 milliseconds if you can spam that much, but usually it means around 200 to 250 milliseconds of time to kill, and since it's semi-auto, it depends on your ability to spam, obviously. Mobility-wise, even though it's a DMR just like the SKS, we're not that slow. We have a really fast 256 milliseconds of ADS time, and while the strafe speed is very low, being under 2 meters per second, the sprint speed is not so bad at 5.7 meters per second. But aside from the ADS time and the damage, nothing really matters on the DMR except one more thing: the control you have on the weapon. Even though the flinch could be lower at 0.6, the recoil, aside from the first bullet kick, is incredibly easy to control, and it's honestly the gun with the most potential in the game. You'll see later why its high potential, despite certain drawbacks, is a theme among the very best weapons on this list. At the 10th spot on our list, we find our one and only LMG, the MG42. It has 38 meters of effective range, maintaining firstly 16 meters of 5-shot kill, and then 38 meters of 6-shot kill. The fire rate is extremely fast at 1034 RPM. The BSA is incredibly accurate with just 13 of bullet spread, giving us basically 60 meters of accurate BSA, which largely exceeds our effective range based on damage. The mobility is overall decent with a 3 meters per second of strafe, a 360 millisecond ADS time after the nerf, which is still fine. And since it's an LMG, it has 125 bullets, which means that we can fire continuously for 7.2 seconds, but the reload time is quite slow, coming in at 4.6 seconds and 5.4 seconds if you empty the magazine totally before reloading. The recoil and the flinch are fairly low, making this gun extremely easy to use. Overall, the best LMG in the meta, so give it a try. It makes the list for pure power, but its specific role will make more sense once we compare to the ARs in the top 5. At the 9th spot, we have the biggest maybe of the list, and it's the MX9. I'm saying it's the biggest maybe because I really don't know how big of a factor the recoil can be for everyone. The MX9 basically carries the best mobility of all the SMGs. We have 150 milliseconds of ADS time, 4.95 meters per second of strafe speed, 5.54 meters per second with Skulker, which is highly recommended, 6.6 meters per second of sprint speed, and a 35 round mag that you can reload within 1.2 seconds. Range wise, while it was awful before, now with the buffs, it is really decent. We have 18 meters of consistent 4-shot kill and 24 meters of potential 4-shot kill. That's better than a Switchblade X9 range wise, And I haven't even mentioned the BSA yet, because while the Switchblade X9 has around 28 of BSA, or a QQ9 10mm with 24 of BSA, the MX9 has 20, which will make it more accurate and reliable. Now, as I said earlier, the big maybe is on whether or not the recoil will be a huge issue for you. But in general, avoid long sprays and strafe toward the left, and the recoil will not be an issue. At the 8th spot, we find the Switchblade X9. Thanks to a little mobility buff on the skeleton stock and a multiplier buff on the stomach, the Switchblade X9 now has 4.5 meters per second of strafe speed, 6.64 meters per second of sprint speed, and damage-wise, the stomach multiplier buff greatly increased the 4-shot kill potential in the second range. Aside from that, the Switchblade X9 is a great aggressive SMG. It has basically no recoil for an SMG, the iron sights are clean, and it has 41 bullets with a 1.1 second reload time, which makes ammo management super easy. But the issue comes from its competitors. The Switchblade X9 has a small consistent 4-shot kill range with 13.5 meters, which isn't great when compared to the 18 meters of the newly buffed MX9, or when you compare it to the 15 meters of 5-shot kill of a Fennec. The Switchblade X9 truly shines thanks to its ease of use. The skill ceiling isn't high at all compared to an MX9 or a Fennec, and that's what makes it good. At the 7th spot, we find the QQ9 10mm, or as we call it, the QQ10. Basically in a class of its own compared to the other SMGs on the list. The QQ10 shines mainly through its damage. Up to 16.5 meters, we have free shot kill potential offering 158 milliseconds of time to kill, and up to 24 meters, it's a consistent 4-shot kill offering 238 milliseconds of time to kill. Mobility wise, it's not as good as the MX9 or Switchblade X9, but we still maintain a crazy good 206 milliseconds of ADS time, an okay 4.1 meters per second of strafe, and a good 6.6 meters per second of sprint speed. But don't think of it as an alternative to the MX9, Switchblade X9, or even the Fennec. The QQ10 is good in game modes where ammo management isn't an issue like S&D, CODM, or control, while the MX9 and Switchblade X9 should be used mainly in hardpoint or domination. Its damage output is unique among SMGs, but it has a trade-off that will be contrasted by the top-tier ARs coming up. At the 6th spot, we have the Fennec. Simply the best aggressive SMG in the game currently, unless the MX9 happens to be way more manageable than I expected and ends up topping it. The Fennec doesn't shine through its mobility like the MX9 or the Switchblade X9, or its damage like the QQ10. It shines because it fires so fast that missing a shot isn't an issue. Oh, and also the fire is great. The idea with the Fennec is simple. Mobility isn't great aside from the sprint speed, so we need to slide every time we take a gunfight. The only true range limitation of this weapon is basically how well you control the recoil, because yes, the effective range is 23 meters, but most players don't even exploit it well past 15 meters. And there's one flaw that comes from the 1111 RPM fire rate. This thing burns through max really fast, 2.1 seconds to be exact. Usually you'll be able to get 2 kills with a single mag, sometimes 3. Quite sadly, in close range, since you're more likely to miss shots, it'll sometimes get down to 1 kill per mag. So reload as often as possible and that should be alright. At the 5th spot, we have our first flex AR of the list, the Type 19. And at the 4th spot, we have the XM4. Now I want to make a little stop on these two together because I see a lot of players make this mistake in weapon choice. The flex AR term has to be seen as a spectrum. The XM4 is more towards the aggressive side, while the Type 19 is more on the slower side. If you want something with more control in general, go for the Type 19. It has smoother recoil but slightly worse mobility. If mobility is a deciding factor for your playstyle, go for the XM4. In terms of stability, it's a bit worse, but the mobility is better. Understanding this subtle difference is key to picking the right AR for your style, a decision that becomes even more important as we move closer to the top. That being said, the Type 19, even though it's a bit on the slower side, is still a flex AR. That comes with at least decent mobility, 262 milliseconds of ADS time, 3.45 meters per second of strafe speed. Yeah, that's decent. We'll purposely forget to mention the awful sprint speed of 5.8 meters per second thanks to last season's nerf. Range is good as we have 31 meters of 4-shot kill and 43 meters of 5-shot kill. And it is easy to use as the recoil is low, the flinch is 2 at 0.42, and the BSA is good enough to keep up at that range. Overall, no major flaw aside from that sprint speed. Just a great gun. In 4th place, we have the XM4, the aggressive version of the Type 19 as mentioned earlier. We have slightly shorter ranges with 28 meters of 4-shot kill and 39 meters of 5-shot kill, but overall slightly better mobility. 229 milliseconds of ADS time, 6.1 meters per second of sprint speed, 3.5 meters per second of strafe speed. But the main difference is the stability. Yes, the XM4 has better flinch at 0.3, but the recoil climbs a lot faster. Now, that means the gun is more predictable if and only if you can manage the recoil correctly. I personally prefer the XM4 as it's a bit more aggressive and the recoil isn't much of an issue for me, but feel free to try both the Type 19 and the XM4 to pick your favorite. The trade-offs between these two highlight what you'll need to master to effectively use the absolute top tier guns coming up next. In 3rd place, we have the Peacekeeper, and to show you how good it is, I'll compare every stat to another weapon in this list. It has 39 meters of 4-shot kill, which is the 5-shot kill range of the XM4, and only 2 meters shorter than the 5-shot kill range of the Type 19. Oh, and compared to their respective 4-shot kill ranges, it's 11 and 8 meters longer. It has 215 milliseconds of ADS time, which is only 10 milliseconds slower than the ADS time of the QQ10. It has 4.03 meters per second of strafe speed, which is only 0.08 meters per second slower than the QQ10s. It has a small mag of 40 bullets, which you can reload within 0.8 seconds, so not an issue at all. 8 or 5 less bullets than a Type 19 or XM4, but at least 0.5 seconds faster reload. The BSA will largely keep up as it's as good as on the XM4. The flinch is low at 0.38, slightly better than the Type 19. And the only flaw of this gun, the recoil got smoothed out, so it's not a major flaw anymore. In 2nd place, we have obviously the USS9. It has 28 meters of 3-tap range and 55 meters of 4-shot kill range. The mobility is overall decent with, for example, 3.6 meters of strafe. The biggest issue with this gun comes with the fire rate. Only having 600 RPM means impeccable tracking is required to be efficient with it, as missing a shot will cost you a lot more than a Type 19, for example. Overall, it's obviously a great gun, so if you don't know what to use, it should definitely be your go-to gun. And at the number 1 spot, as always for the last 2 or 3 seasons, we have the Oden. You know the fundamentals: slow firing, easy to control recoil, infinite 3-shot kill potential, and that devastating 2-shot kill capability with upper body shots. That core identity hasn't changed, and that's exactly why it's still great. Thanks to that extremely fast time to kill, you can be somewhat decent in close range as you'll outgun pretty much anything that can't one-shot you. And in long range, thanks to that smooth recoil, good BSA, and again, fast time to kill, you can outgun pretty much anything that's not a sniper or a DMR, so you'll also be good. The biggest issue for this gun is the same as the USS9 but turned up to the max. The Oden is the full auto weapon with the slowest fire rate in the game with 413 RPM. That means that not only your tracking has to be perfect, just like with the USS9, your crosshair placement also has to be precise. Unlike the USS9 where hitboxes don't really matter, with the Oden, if you don't hit the upper body, you're stuck with a slower time to kill. So aim up, track smoothly, flick fast, and this will not disappoint no matter the map. If you want to know why you're still noob even if you're using these meta guns, you need to watch this video.